Welcome boys. In this video we're going to be replacing the water pump in our 2003 Dodge Dakota with the 4.7 V8. What has happened is as the air flows through the grill and our bumper here, and then our pusher fan with the heavy duty fan clutch collects more air and creates a high pressure zone in here, blows air this direction, and then when I activate the blower motor to take air from the outside and into my cab, I'm smelling the faint smell of aerosolized coolant. So that could be caused from the heater core, but I'm fairly certain if we look at the evidence here, that's our fan clutch attached to the fan, attached to this pulley, attached to the water pump. See that little bit of mild moisture around the seal of the pump? So I'm pretty sure what we have is coolant escaping out of this pump seal, burning off the heat from the engine, and then getting blown and or sucked into the cab via this pusher fan and then the blower motor. So we need to get the water pump out and replaced. We have the tools, 36mm fan clutch tool, and I also have the new pump. Comes with the O-ring seal and our pulley. As I pull this cap off of these threads, the fan can thread over it. So to get this thing out, we're going to get the fan out of here. We need to unplug the electrical connectors. There is there's some stuff in the way. Kind of hard to see, but underneath, through here, there is a fastener that needs to come off. Ditto for this side. Underneath the hose, there's another fastener securing this top plastical deal onto the bottom plastical deal surrounding the fan. We'll also need to remove the coolant and drain it. The easiest way to do that is to pull the radiator cap off. And now air will go in here, and then it will come out the bottom. I've replaced this coolant just 6 months ago after my dad smashed the truck, if you've been following this channel, and I repaired it because Yeta Motor gave me a new radiator to install free, part of a promotion. Even though I didn't need a new radiator, I still have the old one. So that's enough jibber jabber. Now you know what's happening, how we've come to the conclusion we need the water pump. Yours might actually be leaking out of the weep hole, which would be a more obvious sign, but we need to address this issue now, because though it's not leaking a ton of coolant, or even leaching a bunch, because I haven't had to top this off since the summer, and I have been driving it quite a bit. Well, I guess now it's technically spring. What I'm getting at is it's now spring of 2024 at the time I'm recording this. I had repaired this truck during the summer of 2023, and I have been driving it all winter, 2023 into 2024, and I still have not had to add coolant. So this seepage is not much, but it is. I can still smell it when I'm driving. The leak may get worse, and I'm pretty sure it's not good to inhale aerosolized coolant, since you can kill people by giving it to them and them drinking it. Destroys your kidneys and whatnot, so I'm assuming that inhaling aerosolized versions of it is not good for your lungs. So we're going to solve that issue now. Okay, so on the driver's side, if you slither under to where the radiator is, this splash guard I have, I'm not going to remove, because I don't have to. There's the opening for the petcock. And then there's the petcock next to it. So you're going to unscrew that, and coolant will come out of that there hole. Now, since the splash guard's here, it's just going to fall down, run down here, and then make a mess. So I could just have a mild mess, let it run, put the container over there. But instead, what I'm going to do is take this hose that will fit over that nipple. Like so. And now when I open the petcock, it will flow down into the container here and fill it up. And then we'll know how much coolant came out, how much we need to fill it back up with. We can properly recapture it, to measure it, and then dispose of it. Now your petcock may be easier or more difficult to get to, depending on how yours is set up, because my splash shield is on my iron bowl bumper, not the factory bumper. But from here I can just get to the side with a long pair of these guys and loosen her up. And then as the coolant is draining, I will be able to go ahead and start removing that plastic fan shroud thing. Okay, and after removing the electrical connectors, unplugging them, undoing the hose for your washer fluid, and then remembering to plug your washer fluid hole. Your pump hole there, have plugged with a Q-tip. And then that is where the overflow goes. From here, hose wraps around there and then goes into the overflow. Alright, so now we have access to all the working space we need. This whole job can be done from the top of the truck. There is no need to go below to do anything. This is normal threaded. The BMW is the thing that's reverse threaded. So while we still have some tension on the belt, we can use this tool to kind of hold. Yeah, I got the right side. We can use this to kind of hold fan in place. I'll use the 36mm side to loosen this. If you do not have this tool and you need to loosen this, you can use a giant adjustable wrench to fit over here, and then you get a like a vice grip and clamp it around this pulley up against this bolt, and then that will hold it in place. I've demonstrated that procedure in, I believe, the radiator replacement video, if I remember correctly. So I've already shown how you can do that. And we're just going to go ahead and use the vice grip method. So we're taking the belt off. We need the 15mm to turn to the right tightening motion to loosen the tensioner, and then that will put enough slack in the belt for us to lift it off, and then we'll be able to use the vice grip and the 36mm to loosen the fan clutch. All the way long enough to get this off, and we can pull it the rest of the way out. Let's see. Which way did I have this thing going last time? I need to find a big opening. I think it's this spot. There's one spot that opens more than the other. Alright, that should do. So vice grip, the head of it's up against that bolt. So now that won't turn. There we go. Now that's all you need to do, just to budget this. Take that off. there's our pump. And now you should get a better visual of this seepage action we have going on here. Got a nice mud dauber on there. And so now we want to orient our new pump. This is, not all these are the same length. What we're going to do is take one off at a time and then implant them onto this pump. So this pump's oriented like so. There's a big gap here. There's a little curvy thing there. Big gap here. Little curvy thing down there. So it looks like we'll need to remove this idler pulley so we can get access to that one. But it's as easy as that, so let's take them off. Okay, that's our pump removed. I got a little bit of cleaning to do along this surface, so I'll grab one of those green scrubby deals. Looks like we got some sort of something in there. I don't know if that's some sort of sealer somebody put in back in the day or some sort of mineral deposits. In any case, that's out. So we need to scrub clean that. As you can see, new pump, I put all the bolts back where they were. Old pump has a plastic impeller, it would seem. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I guess it held up. And then our mud dauber, putting in work, plugging up that there weep hole, I guess. Alright. This one did come with a new seal. I'm not going to flip it over because all my bolts will leave, but there's a metal impeller on the backside and a rubber gasket that neatly goes around here. It's pretty, you can't mess it up. There's a big thing here, a small round thing there. Show you how to orient it so it goes in. So alright, I'm going to clean that mating surface up, get the torque specs, and secure this new pump on, and then fill up the cooling system. And of course we had to switch to 2 because once I pull the water pump off, that'll start leaking. So we have our petcock pouring into that one now. Okay boys, we have the surface cleaned off as best as we can, but we have an issue I need to make an executive decision about. So if we look here, that mating surface is pretty damn rough. I can see quite a bit of pitting in certain areas, and I don't really like that or know the best way to handle it. So we got, I guess, 3 options total. Option 1 is put the pump back on with its O-ring and hope for the best, and hopefully it doesn't leak out of any of these pitted areas up here at the top or down in here. Option 2 is try to mitigate that with like a thin layer of RTV. I mean, just coat this whole area with the world's thinnest RTV and hope for the best that that does not negatively interfere the O-ring seal. Or part of option 1, put it back together, and then wait and see if it leaks, pour some stop leak in there, and then that should stop it. And I'm leaning more towards that route. So putting it back on, putting the new pump on with no RTV, and seeing what happens. If it leaks, I can just dump stop leak in it. It's not that big of a deal, since we know what the issue will be. It ain't like I'll be trying to stop a hose leak or something. It'll be the water pump seal. But I think that's what we're going to have to do, and normally this isn't part of your water pump replacement procedure, but you could run into this and then have to make a decision, because this looks pretty bad, and I can feel it. Now, it might not leak, but it might, and if it does, you're going to have to know how to do that. And I don't really feel like pulling the pump off and then trying to RTV the whole thing again. And I don't want to do it now, because that might not work, might make it worse if I RTV this and then put an O-ring on it. But man, that is a deep pit right there. Especially this thing. I mean, that thing is deep. It's right where the seal goes. I don't know. I think that's what we're gonna have to do, though. We're just gonna put it together. If it leaks, then pour some stop leak in it, and if it doesn't, well then, okay, we win for now. Alright, let's get the new pump on. Okay boys, and all of the 13 millimeters for the water pump have been torqued to 43 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern. We have reinserted our 15 millimeter that is holding on our idler pulley. So we get time to spin these to make sure that they're working properly. They are. They're not noisy, and they don't have excessive spinning. And this one I did not check the torque specs on, but there was a mark I noticed on it when I took it off, so I just lined it back up with that, and that's when it got tight. So that's good. Alright, so now we just need to put the fan back on, put the belt on, and reinsert our upper part into the little slots here, and secure the 10 millimeters back onto there, plug the electrical connectors and plug that hose in, plug the other hose back into there, tighten the petcock, and fill it up with coolant, and then we'll start it to make sure we don't have any leaks. So I'm not going to show you all that because you know the drill. At this point, I'm going to, off camera, go ahead and rinse all the splashed coolant off of this so I can get a better idea of if I still smell coolant or not. And with all this excess of coolant, that might mess up my results. So we got to clean everything, figure out how much coolant I took out, put that exact same amount in. This is the bleeder valve. I have it marked exactly where it is, so once you're filling up the cooling system, you will need to open that up and allow any air that's in the system to escape, so you don't have air pockets in here, overheat your engine, and blow it up after you just did all this. So, alright, hope this helps. Hope now you have the confidence to tackle and replace your own water pump, and hopefully you have less issues like that really bad and pitted mating surface. But we're going to see how the O-ring seal does on its own. If it does not, well, we'll have to dump some stop leak in there, because I wasn't about to do the RTV thing. Alright, hope this helps. Catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace.